What is up, everybody? On B Camera over here. Welcome to the Wednesday show of the American Nomad podcast. I am the American Nomad, Rav Holly. Good to have you guys here today. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Somebody let me know my sound's good. I appreciate it. I'm scrambling. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm scrambling because I didn't know wasn't sure if the show was going to happen today with what we had with YouTube being down for about a half hour. And scrambling around to see if YouTube was going to come back up or if it wasn't. Oh, sounds great. Thank you, RV Chris. Good to see you in the room, buddy. Good to see you guys. So sounds good. I think we got everything ready to go here. So let's see if we can get our A camera focused. We'll find out if I can get it focused here in a second. But without further ado, let's get this show started. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're not subscribed to the channel, if you'd subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. Help us out a lot. Don't forget to hit that like button. Come on, A camera, focus for me, baby. Don't forget to hit that like button. It'll help us out with the YouTube algorithm. So YouTube was down for about 30 minutes. And to be honest with you, I wasn't sure it was going to come back up. When it first went down, it was glitching, and I was on YouTube when it started glitching. Couldn't figure out what the problem was, but I thought the problem was on my end. I didn't realize the problem was on YouTube's end. So I was rebooting my computer, but the funny thing is I actually tried to watch a video on my phone, and I couldn't see it on my phone either, but it just kept loading. So I wasn't sure what was going on, but I thought it was on my end, and I figured it was probably on my end with my internet connection or my computer. So I went in, restarted the computer, did all of those things. That didn't work. Ended up restarting my internet a couple of times. That didn't work. So finally I decided to get on my phone and go through and see if I could watch a video. That didn't work. So that led me to, don't think this is on my end, where I immediately went to Parler and made a post saying, hey, is YouTube working for anybody else? Because on the West Coast here, I can't get it to play any video on any channel. Let me know. Where immediately people went to check and came right back at me and said, hey, YouTube's not working for me either. And then within 5 minutes of that, we knew. I went to Twitter. Been staying off Twitter. If you saw my video from this morning, I've been staying off Twitter and the other mainstream social media, but I went to Twitter because I knew I could get it verified there, and sure enough, there was already a hashtag YouTube is down. So YouTube was down. Driving home Lamont, good to see you, buddy. Everybody, my buddy Lamont there, be sure to check out his YouTube channel. If you're into the van life, Lamont is building out a new truck, and I want to give Lamont a shout out for his YouTube channel, so be sure to check out his YouTube channel. Driving Home, he's in the room right now. You can actually just click on his name, if I remember right, or click on the three little dots is what it is. I believe. I know you can click on a person's name. Maybe I can't do it because I'm the person hosting the stream, but you should be able to click on Lamont's name. Go check out his YouTube channel, and be sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's just a sweetheart of a guy. No homo. But anyway, RV Chris says, I was on Instagram. The consensus was it may be down for good. Yeah, that's exactly what the consensus was, because it was, when YouTube goes down, what most people don't understand is they have servers all over the world. So usually when YouTube goes down, it's in a certain demographic or a certain area, North America or, something like that. From what I understand, now I haven't verified this because I haven't had time, but from what I understand and what I do believe, what I'm saying this, I do believe YouTube was down all over the world. All of their video servers were down. So as soon as I realized YouTube was down, immediately that came to my mind is this is a cyber attack. with all of the censorship that they've been doing to us, okay. So let me hit that point really quick. The first thing I couldn't do was load my own video from this morning, because I shared my video from this morning and I tried to load it. I shared it with some people on a Facebook group that was talking to me about Parler, and I tried to share the video with them, and it wouldn't play. So then I came to YouTube and it wouldn't play. So I immediately, with paranoia, thought, okay, I'm being censored here. They didn't like my video because the thumbnail has MAGA on it. So I'm like, wow, this is crazy. YouTube has literally, because I couldn't get my first MAGA video that I uploaded this morning to play, so then I started trying to play my other videos and they wouldn't play either. So I immediately, paranoia set in, and I'm like, wow, YouTube finally did it, man. I didn't do anything to break their guidelines, so they've actually just they've done something to my channel so it causes an error so nobody can see my videos. So that's where I was first. And then I went into, maybe this is a technical glitch on my end. Let me start checking my computer. And then I spent about 20 minutes doing that. I'm a little idiot, I guess. But I spent, I shut my computer down, I rebooted it, then I shut my internet down, I reconnected it a couple of times, I even tried a couple of different internet connections, and nothing seemed to help. So that's where I was. It was like, what is going on here? It was pretty crazy. And then pretty quickly, though, after I got all of my stuff set and reset and nothing was still working, pretty quickly I figured out that it was not just on my end. Dangerous to the man, what is going on? I have to go live button now that I didn't have before. You have a go live button now that you didn't have before? Okay, good for you, buddy. So maybe they were doing an update. Is that what you're saying, dangerous to the man? I don't know. It could have been. I don't know. It's speculation. It's speculation on my part that it was a cyber attack. Definitely could have been that they are doing, they're always working on upgrading things. Maybe they were doing an upgrade, and when they loaded the upgrade, it didn't work like it was supposed to, and it knocked the servers out or something. Who knows? I'm not sure. I do want to let you guys know, I think most of you know, I know Matilda saw this. I posted it on my Patreon page. If you're not a Patreon, you want to support the show, I do have a Patreon page. You can find it in the description of the video. I don't try to push it on anybody, but if you would like to support the show, just know I do have a Patreon page. But I made a Patreon post early this morning posting, I did do a audio podcast only last night, so it's not tied to the YouTube here. It's a completely different audio podcast, but I'm doing something different today. I am actually recording this audio and I'm going to edit it and put it up. So those of you that can't watch the YouTube and just need to, you may be, because I know Lamont drives a lot and he tries to watch the show while he's driving and stuff. Some of you guys may just want to listen to the show and not actually tune into YouTube and watch it. You may just want to be able to get a rebroadcast of it or something at some time. So hopefully this works out, because I've got the audio recording right now, and I plan on editing this audio and getting it up on the podcast on the audio version on Podbean. So you can find my podcast. If you don't know this, you'll be able to find the podcast. You'll be able to find it on Twitter. You can find it on Podbean. We just had a buffering moment there, guys. You can find it on Podbean. You can find it on the iTunes Store. I just submitted to the Google Play Store, but you can find it on the Apple Store, and you can find it on Stitcher Radio. And the big announcement I've got for you guys is you can now find my podcast since this morning on Spotify. The podcast is now going to be on Spotify. So I will actually probably be doing some episodes that are just audio that aren't done on the YouTube. So, subscribe or, download a podcast, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, or one of the podcast apps, and check there, because as a bonus, you might get, if you want to hear more stuff from me where I'm not just interacting with you guys here on YouTube, and you want to hear like a speak-only audio, be sure to check out the podcast on the audio version. I haven't really paid attention to that audio podcast because I don't make any money off of it. You don't make any money off of it. It's not monetized or anything, so it's just work for basically marketing purposes, I guess. But I never really pay a whole lot of attention to when I do it and I put it out there. And then I realized today that the last episode I did in August of 2019 has 700 downloads. I'm like, what am I doing? This is such a good avenue that I'm just ignoring. And I've been I pay for hosting every month, $10. I've been paying for it for 6 years for Podbean. So, I'm back on the audio podcast, and you should be able to catch the rebroadcast of this here if I can get this to work properly. Maryland, that's a new face. Hey, Maryland, Maria, I believe. Yeah, when it came back, they had changes, but Anonymous said they planned something for November 3rd, so it's possibly they waited longer. Also, the description they gave is accurate. Great info, Maria. Good to know. I haven't had a chance yet to get into it to see what was going on, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little interested, what went on there. I know with conservatives right now that are so irate over being censored and everything on Facebook and Twitter and somewhat on YouTube, even though YouTube, I have to hand it to YouTube. I'm usually very critical of them on how, they censor us so much, but they have actually stepped back and even though they're putting their little disclaimer on under everybody's video saying that the election is already over and has been decided and Biden won, other than that, they've been pretty good because I know Mark Dice. If you don't listen to Mark Dice, I've been listening to Mark Dice for years and years, and he's about as hard on the left, the leftist as it gets, and he's still here. So I'm still here so far as well. So anyway, if everyone didn't see my video, I actually put a video out this morning just off the top of my head really quick. I was having some thoughts and just got a camera out. It's not very high production, but I'm just talking to the camera and giving some feelings on the election and the way things have went. Crouching Hedgehog, it was worldwide. We lost it in the UK too, and just got some weird music video that was very anti-fascist while waiting for Tim Cast. Wow, Crouching Hedgehog. Welcome to the show, Crouching Hedgehog. That is great information to know. That's right along the lines of what I figured. I actually figured this was some kind of cyber attack of some sort. Wow. So out in the UK, and they got a very anonymous type or very Antifa-esque video while they were waiting for Tim Cass to come on. Very, very interesting. Thank you for commenting, Crouching Hedgehog. Maria, Crouching Hedgehog, welcome to the show. Good to see new faces in here. That's it's going to be interesting. I think these big tech companies that have been, throwing conservatives off their platforms because we're bullies, I think they're going to be shaking in their shoes now because I think this election is going to be the straw that broke the camel's back. I see this because I don't see conservatives backing down, and I don't see leftists backing down. I mean, leftists are, I just watched the Philip DeFranco show, and he's just out of his mind because he can't understand, why anybody would believe there's any kind of thanks for subscribing, Crouching Hedgehog. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's so good to have a new subscriber. Thank you, Crouching Hedgehog. I watched Philip DeFranco. I always knew he leaned pretty left, but I never understood how far left he was until his past few shows, the last 4 days. I've been watching the guy religiously for about 6-7 years, maybe longer. And he literally just can't understand. He can't figure out why anybody would think that there's any kind of fraud that went on. There's no fraud. It's all just made up rumors. Why would anybody even think there's fraud? That's his whole stick. And the whole fraud, the reason we think there might be fraud is just we voted by mail. How many Americans voted by mail? How long have you been pushing this vote by mail nonsense? But as soon as Biden gets announced by the media, Oh, nobody's worried about COVID anymore. Oh, we're dancing in the streets, buddy. We can't go vote. No. We might kill grandma. We might kill granny if we go vote in person. We can't go vote in person. We got to do it all by mail. We got to cause this catastrophe by overwhelming the mail system, by overworking postal service people. We got to overload the entire postal community and everything that they're doing so we can all vote by mail because of this crazy deadly pandemic that only kills like 1 out of 1,000,000 people or something, or I don't know how many. I don't know what the statistics are, but I've heard it's like a 99.6 99.6 rate of survival or something like that. Oh, I just lost the light. So it just baffles me to listen to them whining now about we're wanting a count. We want some recounts and we want some counts and we want to make sure this election was legit when it doesn't look like it was. When they were crying about, mail-in ballots and everybody had to mail in. They had to mail in their ballot because of COVID. Everybody had to vote by mail. And now that we saw this coming. Trump said that this was going to happen. And now that it's playing out, they're beside themselves. They can't figure it out. They don't understand why anybody would think there might be fraud. Well, anytime you vote by mail or you do something by mail, you can definitely finagle with it to make it read kind of the way you want it to read, and that's what they've done. So maybe there's, if there's no voter fraud, he was saying that even if there's in Pennsylvania, there's a case of fraud that they were signing some kind of ballots or something, and then it would only add up to 10,000 ballots, and that wouldn't overturn the election results because Biden's 46,000 votes ahead in Pennsylvania. But what he fails to realize, okay, so there's 10,000 there. What else went on? That may not be the only case of voter fraud. There may be other things that went on. So that's what we want to know. Anyone notice how Google and YouTube stopped working for a hot minute? Yeah, Corey Linus. Hey, Corey Linus, good to see you, buddy. You're new in the room. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about, Corey. As a matter of fact, if you don't know, it was not just YouTube that was down. It was actually the Google Play Store was down as well. So I think it was a cyber attack. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I'm approving your comments there, Corey. I don't have any moderators in the room today, and they were held for to see if they broke any guidelines. They didn't, so I just approved them for you there, Corey. I'm wondering where Travman and I have Travman and Random Nomad are two of my most loyal watchers, and we don't have them today. I hope they're both okay. I don't think either one of them missed a show in months. I know Random Nomad hasn't, so I hope he's okay. No worries, Corey, no worries. Corey Linus says, I have an Android. My phone would not work at all. Really? Wow, that's interesting. The funny thing is as conservatives, we celebrate these big, if it ends up that it was like some kind of crazy right-wing hackers that took them down, it's going to be, I was like, I'm not going to say I was panicking. I was on one side because I had this show at 7:00. So on YouTube, and YouTube's not working. You know what I mean? So I have a lot of people that watch me and that expect me to be on when I say I'm going to be on. And I always try to be. Sometimes I'm a few minutes late, but I try to be on when I say I'm going to be on. So on one hand, I was going, well, I guess maybe the show's canceled today. That's horrible. What if YouTube is down forever? What if these hackers deleted the server or something? They have redundant backups. They have to with YouTube, but all this stuff starts going through your mind. And then on the other hand, I was like, yeah, it serves them right for being dicks, for thinking that they can just control what everybody says. And their war on free speech, they're getting a little war back at them now, it seems like. Corey Linus says, I'm going through Hurricane ETA right now, so I thought it might have been linked to the power outage, but my phone was useless for an hour before I lost power. Wow. You're going through a hurricane, Corey? Where are you at? I'm on the West Coast, and the weather's always great out here. So sometimes these weather anomalies are going on in the other places in the United States, and I don't even know about it. Crouching Hedgehog from the UK aspect, our media is just hammering that Biden won it. Hey, the same thing is happening here, Crouching. They're just hammering it away. I mean, this has been their plan from the get-go. This is no secret, and they're just so upset because people are not so dumb that we didn't see this coming. We all saw this coming. We all knew that this is what they were playing. That's the reason they were playing up here in our country, that they've been playing up this corona so nobody could go out and vote in person, or so people, if they were people that were older or in bad health, or just regular people, so they would be scared to go vote in person, and that they would request an absentee ballot and vote by mail. And our mail system is not set up to handle everybody voting in the United States. And then their propaganda was that Trump was defunding the post office, and that's what was causing all of these problems with people not getting their absentee ballots. But in reality, what it was them scaring everybody into this COVID hysteria, so they wouldn't show up to vote, and then the system would be overwhelmed with all of these absentee ballots and these mail-in ballots. And nobody can count that many ballots overnight when they're still coming in the mail. I heard through Pennsylvania that they approved like ballots that come in like a day or two ago or something like that, and that's not supposed to be the way it goes. It's supposed to be, if the mail-in ballot doesn't get there within a certain amount of time, it's thrown out. But they're still counting ballots that are still coming in, so that's illegal. It's illegal. You know what I mean? They're breaking their own rules. They're breaking these rules that they set up. And that's what's so frustrating for us conservatives. And then they want to act like, because we don't believe them, we're all just crazy conspiracy theorists. And then they're also shaking in their shoes because so many people have abandoned Twitter and abandoned Facebook in the last 5 days and moved over to Parler, that the media's actually doing articles over it. And then I read an article early this morning which inspired my video that I did this morning, and they were talking about how Parler's been #1 in the App Store on Apple iTunes, the App Store for Apple, and the Google Play Store. Parler that has been #1 in the App Store for the last 5 days. And then at the very end of their article, they start throwing out, well, it's going to be interesting to see if they can survive because nobody knows where they're getting their funding. And, there was another app like this called Gab, and American Express and MasterCard and the major processing companies took their processing away, and then they were removed from the the iTunes store, and they were removed from the Google Play Store because they didn't take care of the hate speech on their platform. And I'm sure that Parler and MeWe is going to go the same way. So that's just it. They don't even know what's going on or what's being said. There's no hate speech going on Parler. Everybody's just talking about the election. But because we're not on their platform, they immediately brand us as racist haters. We're racist haters. Just with our own Nazi. Now we have our own Nazi social media platform, so we can use the N-word and just talk like Nazis about how much we hate the Jews and hate blacks and hate all ethnicities that's not white. I'm not full-blood white, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're loony leftists. They've lost their minds. But then that's what they brand us. I mean, they're narcissists. Look at them, like Hollywood. Look at Hollywood in general. They're all narcissists. They're all, if they don't get their way, they throw a fit. I mean, literally, you have magazines. Think about this. Let's look at it like this. You have magazines. If you go to the grocery store, you have magazines. So you have all of these gossip rags. How many of these gossip rags are about the people and that are controlling, or the people that are well known in Dallas, or anywhere? No, the gossip rags are all about the filth and the ilk that's going on in Hollywood. And a lot of this stuff is made up, but then a lot of it, there's an element of truth to some of these stories that the gossip rags put out. RV Chris says Fox was the worst disappointment. Let me tell you this, and I've said it over and over, and I'm preaching on my soapbox today. If you're a big fan of Fox News, get the fuck off Fox News. Fox News is not what they pretend to be. I've said this for years and nobody listened to me, and my very good friends, I have a friend like Chevy Life that's in the room sometimes, my good friend Travis Carter that I grew up with. I mean, if he's watching TV, it's Fox News. I mean, he's addicted to Fox News. And I've told him, dude, those are the old GOP. Those are the old neocons. And it's in New York City. So a lot of those anchors aren't even really Republicans. They're not even really Republicans. But the main thing is they're not conservatives. The only person that I would stick up for on Fox News and tell you that I actually watch, and that is Tucker Carlson, and I pick his show up on YouTube or somewhere else. I don't watch it on Fox News. Fox News is a wolf in sheep's clothing. The majority of Fox News, about 80 or 90% of it. I told you on the last podcast that Murdoch's daughter or daughter-in-law or whatever, she said we did it on Twitter. Her family owns Fox News, but she's celebrating we did it on Twitter that Biden won. Come on. You got to get off Fox News. Fox News, watch Tucker Carlson. He never lets us down. But even, Sean Hannity, if you're a fan of Sean Hannity, I'm not going to drag Sean Hannity just because I don't like him, because I do think he is, right along the lines of Tucker Carlson. But Sean Hannity is an old GOPer. He's a real Republican. So if you're a real Republican, I'm not going to drag you. That's, you're the old guard. We're the MAGA movement. We're the new conservatives that aren't really Republicans, but we're definitely not Democrats. We're definitely not liberals anymore. A lot of us are conformed liberals. A lot of us used to be liberals, and now we're conservatives. But we still don't push over to the old neocons. We're like our own entity now. We're the MAGA movement. We are the maggots, the deplorable maggots, the MAGAs. We are the MAGAs. And when I say we're the maggots, I don't have any problem with, because I heard I've seen a couple of them calling us maggots the last couple of days. That's okay. We'll be maggots because we clean up. We do a service for the earth. We clean things up. We have a job to do, and we get it done to help the cleanliness of Mother Earth, so you don't have these rotting, decaying, dead carcasses all over the planet. For very long, because we get our job done. But you, leftists, you guys are locusts, because you swarm in to anywhere, and as soon as you land, you just ruin everything. Everything where you land just turns to shit. Corey Linus. Let's see. If these guys opened podcasts, they could be themselves. Need to get off the teat of the Murdochs. Yes. It's just, you have to understand where they're coming from, Corey. They've got multi-million-dollar contracts. It's not easy to walk away from those multi-million-dollar contracts. I'm in the same predicament on a very small scale here on YouTube, because, even though my show is not that, it's not that well known, and I'm a tiny little YouTuber, I work hard on my show, and I do make a little bit of money off of this. And with the COVID thing, this has been my full-time job, or my only job pretty much since May. I've really put a lot of time into this podcast, and I can't just walk away from it, even though I don't even want to be on YouTube anymore. So I'm torn. I know there's the new Rebel. I think it's called Rebel. It's a new video platform, and it looks a lot like YouTube. When YouTube very first started out about 2000, YouTube started about 2005. Rebel, or whatever it's called, I think it's called Rebel. It's a new video service for conservatives, and it looks about like YouTube did when YouTube was like 2008 or 2009. So it's got a long way to go. But I am going to sign up for a Rebel account, and I am going to start trying to do videos for Rebel, because I started on YouTube in 2006, and look where YouTube has come. So if I can get in early on Rebel and maybe pick up some new listeners, then maybe my show will grow. But I am very Rumble. Thank you, Gypsy Van Travels. It's called Rumble, not, what was I saying, Rebel? It's called Rumble. RUMBLE. Rumble is a new video service for conservatives. Thank you so much, Gypsy Van Travels. I have the best loyal fan base that do watch my show. And anytime that I'm trying to talk off the cuff and off my head, which is what this is, you guys always correct me and let me know and help me out. And I sure do appreciate that. Corey Linus, maggots have better morals, worth ethics than these extreme leftists do. I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree with you, Corey. And I'm making an announcement on this show today. We're a little over 30 minutes into it. This is an hour broadcast. I'm making an announcement today. I have been very tiptoey around the liberal anybody. I didn't want to say anything on my podcast that I felt like would hurt somebody's feelings if they're a leftist, or, I just didn't want to come down so hard on them to where, that maybe they were a fan of the show and then all of a sudden they start hearing me bashing liberals, that they would tune out. So I was trying to be PC correct and, try to keep things very cordial, and kind of play both sides. I'm not doing that anymore. That day is dead. That day is come and gone. I'm on the right now. If you're on the left, that's fine. I don't have any bad words to say to you. If you want to unsubscribe to the channel, I probably would too if I was in your shoes, because I'm all in on the right now. After this election, I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm all in on the right. I am a conservative. I was a liberal for years, or I leaned more liberal. I'll tell you how liberal I was and the error of my ways. And this is how the left are so brainwashed, especially living here in LA. I'm a photographer. If you guys don't know this, a commercial photographer. So I'm an artist. Every artist almost is a liberal, because we're, cool dude, it's the art, brother. It's all about the art, man. Nobody cares about your politics, that kind of thing. It's all about, just being, letting people do what they want, free expression, that kind of thing. I've taken pictures of scantily clad women for years that conservatives, oh my God, he's taking pictures of naked women. He's a pervert, that kind of thing. So that's why I always leaned a little bit left. And then I grew up very conservative. My family's very conservative. They're all ranchers, Texas cattle people. They are the ones that feed you. They're the ones, if you order a steak, you might have got one of the cattle that my dad takes care of, or my brother. My brother takes care of a huge ranch in New Mexico with 500 head of cattle. My dad takes care of another ranch in Texas with 500 head of cattle. So I come from a beef family. They're very conservative. So they're very closed-minded when it comes to certain things. And I don't conform to that mindset either. I'll give you an example. I was just in Texas at my brother's wedding. I like all kinds of music. I like rap. I like hip hop. I love country. I grew up on country, but I hated country for years when I was in Texas. But I've learned to appreciate it again. I love country. I love all kinds of music. I like to experience any kind of music, and if it's got a tone and the words, if it's written well and I like it, I'll listen to it. I don't care if it's Post Malone or Garth Brooks or George Strait. I'll listen to any of it. You know what I mean? Rihanna. I like Rihanna. I like all kinds of music. My brother just got married, so his new wife, she likes kind of the new pop country stuff. My brother hates it. I understand that. It's not George Strait. I understand this new, I don't even know a new group, but, this new country is not the old country. I understand that. But the... My point is so my sister-in-law, she does like some of the, like the Georgia line or whatever it is. She likes some of this new country, and I like some of this new country. But my sister-in-law was in the back seat. We were driving down the road. She goes, "Let's hear some of your music," or I would like to listen to some of your music, because I said we should put on some of my music. And my brother groans. We end up putting on some of my music, and she immediately goes, "Oh, Wes is not going to like that." Oh, Wes is, so I go, okay, so I changed songs. Oh, Wes is not going to like that. So then I'm putting on somebody help me out. What was his name that he sings this bar stool, and he was on stage when the Las Vegas shooting happened. I actually am a big fan of his music. I like his music a lot. But anyway, I put some of that on, and my brother just completely shuts down, and he gets sulky and mad, because we're listening to music that he doesn't agree with or he doesn't like. Jason Aldean, thank you, Corey. Yes, Jason Aldean. So I've got about 5 or 6 Jason Aldean songs. One of my favorite is Rearview Mirror, because I come from a little dirt town called Lubbock, Texas. So that Rearview Mirror song about living, there's an old song by Mac Davis, Lubbock, Texas in my rearview mirror, but he's got that Rearview Mirrors. I love that song. So we're listening to that, and my brother's just over there sulking. He's just angry he's just feeling it in his being. He's just mad because we're listening to some new country that he don't agree with. So I am not closed-minded like that. And I grew up with a lot of people like that, and they are staunch Republicans. And that's the old GOP. And I'm not like that, dude. I'm like I live in LA. I've lived in LA for going on 15 years or going on 20 years now, I believe. Since 2006. It's April 2006. So I'm not like that. You know what I mean? But I celebrated. So let me get back to my point. I celebrated here in LA. I had a little like, oh yes, we're going to be on the right side of history. When Bruce Jenner went from Bruce Jenner to Caitlyn Jenner and was on the cover of Vanity Fair magazine as a photographer, I celebrated that. I posted it on my Facebook. What a great day. Everybody can just live and do what they want to do. It's such a beautiful day now. If Bruce wants to be a woman, let's just let him be a woman. What I failed to realize was that was an agenda that the left had been pushing. And they were pushing all of these certain agendas. It's like they just throw stuff up just to see how far they can push it until conservatives would push back. And because conservatives are much more docile and, they're working, they got better things to do than argue over politics on social media, they would basically just not cow down, but just kind of step aside and let the leftists push these agendas and not really say anything about it. Even if they didn't agree with it, they would just keep quiet and not say a whole lot about it. And so when Bruce went to Caitlyn, I was like, yeah, it's great. What a great thing. And then they started wanting to go in the bathrooms. Then they couldn't figure out what bathroom they needed to use. What? Wait a minute. Huh? Okay, I didn't see that coming, but now we're having bathroom issues. Civilization has been around for thousands of years, and now all of a sudden people don't know what bathroom they need to go in. We have to create a third bathroom because we have this tiny little demographic of the population that can't figure out what bathroom they need to use, and us as the whole, as a population, need to bend to this tiny little minority about their bathroom issues. That's your fucking issue, brother. I don't care if you're a woman or a man. Use the bathroom. If you got to figure out your bathroom. That's not my problem. So that was the first thing. But then where the left literally lost me was when with these former men that have now transitioned, like a Bruce Jenner, and they've transitioned, and now they are competing in women's athletics and women's sports. That is absolutely delusional. And then they say that men that were former men, they don't have any advantage. Are you out of your mind? Bruce Jenner is probably pushing 70 years old, and he could still probably outrun half the women that are 20-something years old that are competing now. I mean, it's crazy. This is crazy town. And the whole Christian, they lost me. They completely lost me. They had me, and then they pushed it so far left. That's what I tell people. I said, I used to be pretty left leaning, but the left moved so far left that they left me right. And I think a lot of independents are like that. A lot of us. I've always considered myself a libertarian. I was a huge Ron Paul fan. I'm still a big Ron Paul fan. I like Rand, but I am now a conservative. I know I'm a conservative. I still have a lot of, like Joe Rogan, I have a lot of things that are kind of leftist, or I do, see the leftist things. But I'm right now. RV Chris, there was a guy in Canada identified as a woman for cheap insurance. True story, left them stumped. See, there you go. I mean, if you can identify as anything you want to identify as, I think I'll be a woman for a month. Who are you to tell me I can't? I'm just going to be a woman. So just make sure you call me ma'am for the rest of the month. It's crazy town. It's letting the clowns run the circus. It's crazy town. and then they want to wonder why they're, that the conservatives are, so up in arms about stuff. Corey Linus, I won't lie, I had to piss like a racehorse on one time in a restaurant up in Washington State, and I chose to identify as a chick for 5 minutes. I've done that a couple of times myself, Corey Linus. I'll tell you a true story though. So I understand, I understand from the perspective of people that are transgender, because I'm going to give you this story that's a true story that happened to me in West Hollywood. Or not West Hollywood. Yeah, I guess it was West Hollywood, probably about a year ago. I went into a restroom in a very nice, pretty little swanky little kind of cafe. Or it's a little restaurant, but it's kind of a little boutique restaurant. It wasn't very full. It was like a weeknight. There was probably maybe only out of maybe 10 or 15 tables, there were probably only 4 or 5 of them, and everybody was kind of spread out because I think everybody's kind of having their date nights, and I was on a date. And so I was having great conversation with this girl, and we were really feeling each other, and everything was just, so I was really on cloud 9. Girl's beautiful, so I was just in my own little world. And I'm drinking Coronas, which makes me go to the bathroom like a girl every 5 minutes. So I have to pee like a girl, like every 5 minutes drinking Coronas, but I love Coronas. So me and this girl are having great conversation. Everything's going great. And, I end up, I tell her I get her into the restroom. So I get up and I go to the restroom, and, I'm doing my business, and I look in the door because I can see, the mirror is over to the side, and I can see the door looking in the mirror. So somebody comes in behind me. And it's a chick. I mean, it's a girl. And I'm like, I just kind of said lightly, I said, I think you're in the wrong restroom, men's restroom. And she can see the urinals right there. So I'm just like, well, this chick's really got to pee because she don't care. But then I'm thinking, well, there's not, what the hell? This restaurant's pretty much empty. So I don't know. It's just, and then lo and behold, walks right up beside me at the urinal, pulls her skirt up, and starts, doing her business as well. And I was like, I was so embarrassed I couldn't even look at it. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. My bad. I think I said, oh, my bad. That's what I said. And that person was very uncomfortable as well. And then I'm thinking to myself, look, dude, look, lady, trans lady, you don't look like a dude. You don't look like a man. There's not that many people in the restaurant. Why don't you just go to the women's restroom? You look like a woman. You pass for a woman. I thought you were a woman. But then I thought to myself, okay, well, how hypocritical of me is that? Because I would tell that person with a penis they had to use the men's restroom. And that's what that person did. Even though the restaurant wasn't crowded, that person didn't feel comfortable going into the ladies' restroom. So there is a turmoil there. I do get it, and I didn't really get it until this. And I'm not kidding you. I can pick out a trans. And once this trans woman got close to me to use the urinal, I could tell it was a man. But at a glimpse, I thought it was a woman. And until they got up pretty close to me, like 3 feet away, definitely passed as a woman. Definitely wouldn't have questioned if I would have glanced and seen that person going into the women's restroom. But the main thing is they felt uncomfortable in the women's restroom, which left me and that person in the men's restroom feeling very uncomfortable with the situation at a hand. So there is a deal there. I get it. Corey Lines, I lived in Seattle for 2 years, made a lot of gay and trans friends, and they were all normal and cool people. It's the random white college kids with guilt complexes that make everything weird. Abso-fucking-lutely, dude. I always pick that I don't cuss on my YouTube channel, but that is an amen. Amen. I have trans friends. In the van community. If you know anything about the van life community, there's a large van life community of transgender people in the van community. I have no problem with those people. That's what you want to do with your life. I'm a libertarian. I don't think the government should be telling you what to do with anything. If you want to live your life as a woman, knock yourself out, but don't take your minority, being a minority, and try to force your values and what you're trying to do down my throat. That's what I'm saying. and having trans people, if they want to have their own Olympics, I'm absolutely 100% behind it. I'll even donate to fund it. If they want to have their own sporting athletics teams or whatever, where it's just trans people that are competing, absolutely, absolutely, I support that 100%. But don't put 15-year-old boys that have been boys all the way up until they get into the 11th grade. Don't put them on the varsity track team against girls now that they've decided that they're going to be a girl. No, that's where you lose me. Let's get back in the room here, see what you guys have to say. Justin Pollock. Am I saying that right? Is it Pollock or is it Pollock? There's two O's. I think it's Pollock, correct, Justin? There's a difference between liberals and libertarians as well as conservatives. It's bigger than R and Dem. I'm in New York City, though. We're counted as Dem. It's super diverse. Yeah. The funny thing is with this the newer, younger libertarians, they well, you know, like Ayn Rand, you know, was you know, they look at that old stuff, but they push themselves more over leaning as liberal anarchist than they do conservative, you know, conservatives. And that's something new. Like all the time, old libertarians were gun-toting. Old-time libertarians were gun-toting, get off my property, gun-toting, you know, type crazy, even more radical when it comes to their personal rights than Republicans. That's the old libertarians. And now you have these new 20-year-old libertarians that like to, you know, talk crap about Trump on Facebook and everything. And, you know, it's a weird dichotomy where these new libertarians have come from. Not that there's anything wrong with being a new libertarian or being a young Gen Z or even a millennial libertarian. It's just funny to me when libertarians have always pretty much always been more conservative and counted more conservative. Like the Tea Party. The Tea Party was all made up of crazy libertarians. The Tea Party of, 2006, 2007, 2008. That movement is all pretty much is dead now. But the libertarian thing was, that's when Ron Paul was at his biggest, his highest popularity. Let's get back in the room. Corey Lyons. I have met some solid 10s that ended up being dudes. Always funny convo when they tell you. Man, that's I haven't really been here in LA. I've met a lot of trans people, but the funny thing is I can always tell. I had an Asian one time that really took a liking to me, and I just felt something off to begin with, but the Asian looked like a woman. Definitely looked, it was about a 9.7. There was just some tiny little decimal there that I was picking up that something wasn't right there. And then as the day went on, because we were working together and then that person was flirting with me and certain things, but as the day went on, we ended up going, there was a group of us, after work, we all went out that night and we're all having drinks and stuff, and we're sitting at a bar, and the drunker I got, or the more inebriated I got, the more I could tell it wasn't a woman. Does that make sense? And we're sitting there at the bar, and she was beside me. The trans person was beside me, and I still to this day believe it was a trans and not a woman. Never found out for sure, but I was sitting there, and I literally was just kind of looking, and she would turn her head a certain way, and the light would hit the side of her face, and because it had been all day, under this cake of like 5 inches of makeup, I could actually see the hint of a 5 o'clock shadow. I could see that gray coming in on her jaw. I was like, yep. And then I start looking at the hands. The hands always give it away. If you always want, there's some women with big hands, because I know I've known some biological women, and I'm like, God dang, she's got some big ass feet and some big hands. But a lot of times the hands will give it away, because I have women hands, but if I dressed as a woman, you would know that I was a man, because you could tell by my hands. Because they shave the Adam's apple now. Hey, Detox D, good to see you, buddy. Let's see. Corey Line says, Crouching Hedgehog, guys, I've got to shoot. It's getting late here. I'll be back. This show was excellent. Thank you, Crouching Hedgehog, for stepping into the room and visiting with us and watching the show. I totally appreciate it. We're going to run this an hour, so we're only about 9 minutes away. Thank you so much for joining us, Crouching Hedgehog. Corey Linus, the regular Olympics are boring as hell. I'd watch Trans Olympics. Same here, man. Same here. Corey Linus says, true libertarians should love Trump. He leaves the states alone the way he should. That's why red states are prospering and the blue states have been burning for 6 months. Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. Detox D, so good to see you, buddy. Glad you could join us. RV Chris, plus you're a photographer. Catch the details. Hey, driving home. Good to see you, buddy. Lamont. Well, you were in here earlier, Lamont. Did you leave and come back, or did you get kicked off? Or I know you're working on building out your truck. If you like watching people build out a rig, Lamont's building out a new truck right now. So jump over to his YouTube channel, subscribe, check out his Instagram, and keep up with his build process on his new build out for his van life. He's got a step van now. Corey Linus says, the weirdest thing I ever saw was I walked into a bar in Tacoma, Washington, and saw a perfect set of breasts just hanging out. That's when my friend explained to me that it was a dude. Yeah, with the hormone things, you know. The Lord of Trolls. I'm sure mine didn't shut down. Oh, yours didn't shut down? Driving home, my phone is going crazy. Oh, you've got a droid, don't you, driving home? Lamont, I bet you got a droid. I will say that I gotta give it to YouTube. They're crazy leftist, but I got to give it to them. Their service was completely down, and I'm running this show an hour, and we're at 53 minutes. We just hit 53 minutes, so I was really concerned about being able to do the show today and having it be reliable. And we're running live on YouTube for an hour. Lord of Trollolos, I'm from New Zealand. I'm from NZ. Oh, you're from New Zealand. Yeah, you got a poor Lamont. You got a droid. I'm sorry, Lamont. It's a funny thing because a girl I know, we were talking about our phones because we have iPhones, and we were talking about our phones, and we kind of flirt with each other and stuff. And she lives out in Joshua Tree where I used to live, and we were talking, and she was saying something about green bubbles from people that have she goes, I can't date anyone that has green bubbles on their phone. And I commented, and I was like, I know, right? I was like, anytime I meet a girl and like she sends me a text and it's a green bubble, I immediately go, oh, she's poor. She's got a droid instead of an iPhone. Hey, Detox D, that new iPhone 12, listen, I brag about having an iPhone. This iPhone is pretty much new, but this iPhone is actually an iPhone 7 Plus. It's, 4 years old? But that's a great thing about iPhones is they just work. I have an iPhone 6S Plus, but that thing finally shit the bed. So I ended up getting an iPhone 7 Plus. I got it for free. A friend of mine had it. They upgraded right away when the iPhone 8 Plus or whatever came out. So this phone was literally just like brand new, and they asked me if I wanted it, and I'm like, hell to the yeah, send it. But I ran my iPhone 6S Plus till the wheels fell off because it had a jack here. I could plug in my earphones right here. Like I have a pair of Bluetooth earbuds so I can listen to music on the pain in the butt. It's such a pain in the butt that when I was in Texas, I carried those earbuds in my pocket the entire time I was in Texas, and I never once listened to music on my phone, except for one time on the airplane. Eve, Brooklyn Bulldog, so good to see you guys. How you doing, Eve, Brooklyn English Bulldog? Great Iron. What is going on? Massive DDoS attack took down most social media sites. Oh, okay. Well, I've been on here for an hour, so I'm a little behind on the news. Thank you so much for letting us know, Great Ion. You're another new face in the room. So good to see you. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button. We don't get paid for you hitting the like button, but it helps us out in the YouTube algorithm, as I'm sure you know. The Lord of Trollolos, are you still down? Great Ion. Brooklyn Eve checked out Parlor. I'm not going to lie to you guys and tell you that Parler is the most, it's not the most appeasing when it comes to the way it's designed. It's a little antiquated, especially if you love Twitter, which I've loved Twitter for 12, 13 years. I've been on Twitter. I have almost 10,000 followers on Twitter. I love Twitter. I used to be even more of a Twitterholic. So I'm not going to tell you that Parler is as good as Twitter is. It's not. It's like a generic. You know what I mean? It's like generic Oreos. That's what Parler is. But my point, guys, is the more of us that get on Parler and the more of us that stay with Parler and stick with Parler, the more money that they will have, the more money that they will generate, and the better the design will get and the better it'll work, hopefully. So that's what we have to, that's what we have to weigh. We have to weigh out our options. Or are we going to submit like the King of the North? Are we going to submit, and are we going to bend the knee for the evil queen of the evil queen of King's Landing? Are we going to do it, or are we going to stay the King of the North? I think we're going to stay the King of the North, and the queen at King's Landing can go fuck herself. That's what I think. Hey, Detox D, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Everybody give Detox D a round of applause for the he hit us with a $4.99 super chat. I thank you so much. Christy Otts, my girl Christy Otts. I have an iPhone 11 and a Note 10. My Note is my favorite. I know, we had this discussion when I seen you in Texas. You're out of your mind. But she likes that little pen thing. So I'm not saying that the Google Note isn't. Google's got nice phones now too. Brandon Ryder, hey Brandon, good to see you. Good to see you, buddy. Corey Linus says, I like Androids because I can customize them. Plus, they're so cheap, it doesn't break my heart when I break them. Last phone I bought was an 8 Plus, and at $250 screen repair later, I'm an Android guy. Absolutely understand it. You poor soul, Corey, but I get it. But anyway, if you're not on Parler, check it out. If you're tired of being censored, I'm in Facebook jail right now. So that's why I'm such a fan of Parler, is because I'm sick of being put in Facebook jail. I literally had somebody on my page that was basically harassing me every post I made for several months. And, I would troll him until he would cry. He would get upset and start talking about he wanted me to come to New Jersey and fight him. And then he would start calling me a keyboard warrior, which was hilarious. So I pulled out all stops the last time and basically hurt his little feelings. And what does he do? Like a little bitch, he goes to Facebook and turns my post into Facebook saying I'm being a racist. And Facebook goes, no, this isn't racism. He's not being a racist, but we can ban him for 7 days for being a bully because you're a little bitch. So Daryl Steplight, Mr. Daryl Steplight, like I said, I respect the time you spent on the mat because he is a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but it's hard to believe that you could be a purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu and be such a little bitch. So if anybody knows Daryl Steplight, tell him that I told him. He's a little bitch. Janice Lala, I hope you keep this up. I want to watch the replay. Yes. And like I said, I have a, you'll be able to find this replay on iTunes, on Stitcher Radio, and now it has just been approved. This morning, it will be on Spotify. Spotify's growing as far as a, as a podcast hub as well. All right, guys, we're coming up on an hour here. Justin Pollock says, in 50 years, America will be corporate technology. Different factions of citizens will pledge allegiance to, Microsoft and Apple. I absolutely agree with that, Justin. It's kind of goes that way. That's why I don't take it too seriously, the whole Apple versus the Google thing, because they're both those are two birds that flock together. I mean, Google and Apple, they're both two tech giants that rub each other's back, and neither one of them like conservatives. Janice, I don't have any of that. Corey, I got to run, my man. Love the show. I'm a new subscriber, and I'll be on next show. Awesome. So anyway, guys, the show live here is for you new people, the show is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to tune in, if you missed the show here, you'll be able to watch the rebroadcast. It'll upload to YouTube. But if you're just driving and you just want to listen, you don't have time to be watching while you're driving, and that's dangerous, and you just want to listen, there's a link in the description for Podbean. So you can head over to Podbean and you can listen on Podbean, or you can get the iTunes podcast app, or you can get the Stitcher Radio app, or you can get your Spotify app, and the show will be on there as well. So you can just listen if you don't want to catch the live chat and the video version. All right, guys. Okay, we just hit an hour. I want to thank you guys so much. Thank you, Christy Otts. I'm still hoping to get to Texas for Thanksgiving, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen. It's closing on me fast. Brooklyn English Bulldog, Eve, my good friend Eve, all the new faces in the room. So good for you guys to join us today. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're new here and you enjoyed the show and you want to subscribe, I would absolutely appreciate it. Parallax, it's down, I think. Right, it's down right now, I think. None of my videos are playing. Oh, wow, it's down again. That's crazy. Well, maybe we're still working here because we were already running. It'll be interesting to see if YouTube is able to stay up in the next few days if it's being cyber attacked like this and they're getting taken down. Kind of crazy. Anyway, guys, Detox D says, enjoy the show, Rav. Thank you so much, guys. And again, I will put a link in the description for the new audio version, and I will be doing audio version podcast on there that are not on YouTube. I will be putting this on the audio version, but I will be doing just podcasts on the audio for the audio platform. So if you're into podcasts, the listening, just the audio version, and you have a podcast app, be sure to look up the American Nomad podcast and follow my podcast and catch the audio versions or the replays here, the rebroadcast here. Chris says, pray for Trump. I searched live and it's frozen here too. Oh, it's frozen. Wow. So you guys can't see me? Parallax in the room says, I searched live and it's frozen here too. That's kind of crazy. Am I the only one this is happening to? I don't know, Parallax. Oh, it looks we're just buffering. I think it just froze. It did. Yep. Okay, we're back on. Yeah, that's crazy. It just went off. It just froze, but we're back on now. Yeah, it says, I can see you. Can you see me? Yeah, I see you. Everybody's here still, Freedom Dove. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up because we're pretty much at the end of the show. We just hit an hour. Thank you guys again for joining me. Be sure to join me on Parler. Get over on Parler. I've been on Parler for about 6 months, but I haven't done anything with it. But I'm really hot and heavy on Parler now, and I really want to build a large following on Parler. So if you're on Parler, if you're not signed up on Parler, look me up. It's just Rav Holly, RAVHOLLY. Follow me on Parler, and let's communicate over there, guys. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of the American Nomad. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you so much to all the new faces that come in the room. I'm always so, it does my heart good when I see new people in the room. And that's going to do it. You guys have a very safe rest of the week. Hope you've enjoyed your hump day. And we will see you back here Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If YouTube is still live, if YouTube is still around, we'll be back.
Thank you for listening to the American Nomad Podcast. Until next time, keep looking up because that's where it all is.